Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the VRRC and the Lewis Edwards YouTube and Twitch channels and all the other wonderful places we go out to these days. I'm Lewis Edwards and I'm here for the second round of the Trucks Special Event, a little watch along we've got going today. Hope everybody's had a good week so far. You know, on midway through the week, we're here for the Trucks broadcast and it's looking exciting. We've got 3 drivers within a tenth and a half at the top of the table at the moment. Last week out, we had controversy in the extreme. We had Scott Bugner taking the win in race 2 on the track, but got 2 time penalties for cutting the corners from the game, and unfortunately that meant that he got relegated quite far down the order. It meant that Rich Hayden got his first win in many a month. In fact, in the year and a bit I've been here, Rich hasn't really taken part in many races due to having so many obligations for looking after the race directing, but hasn't won anything on track in the time that I've been here. So it's been a while for him. So it was very nice to see him up there. And I'm gonna have a quick look at the championship so that I can give some info. That it is Joel Lask who leads by a solid margin of 1 point to Eric Axelson in second place, and a further 1 point back to Rich Hayden. So it's extremely close at the top, with them all scoring between 45 and 43 points. To be separated by so little at the end of an action-packed evening is really good to see. And we had Scott Bugner in 4th, who was still only 7 points off the lead. But it seems quite a large deficit there. Now we've got Josh Martin 11 points off the lead. Elliot Dalton-Ayres a further 2 behind him. 4 more back to Reese Bell. 1 more back to Paul Laramie and 1 back to Andy Carroll. So Reese Bell, Paul Laramie and Andy Carroll separated by 2 points. They had a wonderful friendly rivalry throughout the GTV3 Championship. So super nice to see that continuing. And they've got John Jones in 10th, Kenny Press in 11th, and Stuart Vickers in 12th. We're not a huge amount away from qualifying now, only a few minutes now. Interesting news as such. We have a new driver in the field this week. We've got Nathan Smith, who I've been informed does real life truck racing and has done some racing with this pack of trucks on Assetto Corsa before, so hopefully he will be slotting right up there towards the sharp end, as I think he suits the trucks quite well, given his real-life expertise, by the sounds of it, and expertise with the mod we're using. The only other news, which I have just spotted now after looking through the entries, is Nicky Taylor has joined us for the race in the Renault truck. He'll be sporting, don't know if there's a livery for that. Might have to look into downloading that, or if he's just running the base one. But it should be easy enough for me to find out, so I can make sure we get that downloaded if needs be. Trying to have a look what he's signed up under. Entrance, here we go. He's signed up under the base template, so yeah, you're going to see a bright white truck if you're cheering in the chat for Nicky Taylor. That's what you're going to see. And at the moment we are about a minute away from the qualifying session beginning, and in the practice server at the moment, in the last few minutes, Elliot Dalton-Ayres is the one at the front, and the other drivers within that tenth and a half are Joel Lask and Rich Hayden. But we've seen quicker laps from Joel in the past, and quicker laps from Rich in the past. So it's going to be interesting to see where it all pans out on track. We're not too far away from getting the session underway now. I believe we're going to have a server automatic forwarding in not too long. Any predictions for pole? Ooh, it's going to be a close one with the practice times. I'm going to stick with my gut and say that Joel is going to take pole, but I don't know if he's going to take the win. One thing I'm learning about Joel is he's very good in qualifying, but does struggle a little bit in the race to keep that consistency up. He's supposed to be buying a set of pedals off me at some point, so when he gets those, then we can start upping the predictions for him. But we are now into qualifying, so we're going to head on into the game. And you'll see there is Joel in his wonderful bright pink LB Motorsport truck. You see Paul Laramie, and then this is livery Nicky Taylor is going to be sporting for this evening at least. He might try and get all sorted out for the final round, which will be taking place in a week's time. But everybody else, pretty much the usual. We'll see if Nathan Smith ventures out onto the track soon. Then we will we'll show off his livery as he's another new driver to the championship. Just the outlaps at the moment. The only kind of major thing to note is that Rich's internet is suffering a little bit. He's, I think, still racing off his 4G hub, which he maintains is getting worse over time. So I think he's praying for the day he can install some nice gigabit internet to the VRRC centre. It doesn't matter when it's all on LAN, but when he's trying to compete from there over the internet, it's having a few little issues. You can see Eric coming up the pit lane there as they all begin their opening attempts for pole position. We're expecting a low 1 minute 32 for pole position, maybe a 1 minute 31. We have seen a couple of 32 zeros, so it's going to be close. As to whether they get it or not, I'm not sure what we're doing vis-a-vis track ramping up and stuff, so that'll be interesting to find out. Got Elliot going off in the background a little bit there. As we can see, Paul has let Nicky through. Nicky has actually set purple sector 1 of those who have gone through the sectors so far. We've got a couple of invalidations. Bit tricky to get the line right through the chicane in sector 1. There's a very fine balance between invalidating your lap and getting the perfect line. I've seen a fair few different approaches to curbs through the first chicane, but I think qualifying is fairly irrelevant in these, especially at a track like Thruxton, where it's all about racecraft, which Nicky isn't going to like me saying because he's currently set purple sector 2 as well. So if you ignore the bit saying is plus 1.6 seconds, that's just him to Joel to start with. Now we've got some very lenient track limits at the final chicane, very big trucks, so it's very hard to navigate. Ooh, just seen Andy Carroll has gone purple in sector 2, and Nicky goes to the top by a huge 13 milliseconds to Joel Lask. So it's going to be tight for pole position by the looks of it, as Josh Martin did slip into third, down to fourth now. Rich Hayden is about 3.5 tenths away from Nicky, and Andy Carroll slips into fourth with that purple middle sector. Unfortunately, it was purple, but it was only 2 milliseconds quicker than what Nicky had managed. As we see, Stuart Vickers has had a bit of an issue there. Hopefully that's not a permanent issue and he'll be able to just get going and carry on. Kenny Press now setting the purple second sector. We've seen a couple of moments of Kenny in his element. We saw it in the Corvette in Watkins Glen mainly. He was absolutely flying compared to his usual pace there. He seems to be taking it very easy through the final chicane. I think Kenny is he's actually on an outlap by the looks of the timing. So purple sector on the outlap, he's done a very good job there. But I think it might be to do with tyres. The tyre temperatures were affecting things in Donington, so I theorised that part of the reason we saw people closing in and then getting stuck like they hit a brick wall was because they just overheated the tyres too much pushing, and it meant that while the other car was saving, as you see Elliot go back to the top of the timing sheets, but it meant that when one of the other trucks was saving and the other one was catching, there would be a point where, like a snap of the fingers, the pace difference would just swap, and the person who had been saving would then just start to pull away again. It made catching up and overtaking quite difficult, but with Thruxton, the fronts are just cooked all of the time, which is a bit of a problem for everybody, rather than if you're pushing, it's like the tyres are going to be finished no matter how you drive, with Thruxton requiring so much mechanical grip from the trucks, because they're not the greatest in terms of aero. They don't even do like ground effect or anything. They really, yeah, they're not the best when it comes to aero efficiency, shall we say. We've got very quick Sector 1 from Eric Axelson. He's only about half a tenth to a tenth away from the best we've seen in Sector 1, but he is nearly 2 tenths up through the second sector. But I don't think that's purple. It's not going to be up as purple. It's very, very close to purple. But I don't think that slipstream from Josh is going to have done him much good, because you hit the limiter well before this. So it might have helped him get to the limiter a bit quicker, but he may very well have been stuck on the limit of the gears. The trucks did have a realistic actual limiter on speed, like the real life counterparts. I think Stuart was telling us they are hard limited to 100 miles an hour in real life on safety grounds. Like the amount of momentum that a big heavy truck has at 100 miles an hour is just a recipe for disaster if something goes spectacularly wrong. How many gears do the trucks have? Yeah, so it's definitely not the same gearbox as the sort of trucks you would find driving down the motorway. They do have like 20 gears or whatever it is. These ones have 4. While we're just sitting around and qualifying, Joel Lask is the only one improving at the moment, so let's focus on Joel. But we're going to do a bit of research. This is the one minor downside with Assetto Corsa, is you do have to quickly tap away, but then some of the keystrokes will change things in the game even if you haven't got the game highlighted. So apparently the mod is not very accurate. So what I'm reading here is the racing truck that they had on Top Gear sometime. It says the manual gearboxes are from standard road-going trucks and have a ludicrous 16 speeds, although in a race drivers only use 2. Didn't know that. Yeah, they're limited to 99 miles an hour apparently. They do have 1,100 brake horsepower. Oh, the engines are capped at 13 litres. Oh dear. I don't think Greta's going to be too impressed if she sees one of those. Oh, as Rich is taking a tour of the sights of Thruxton by the looks of it. I have absolutely no idea where he is. So he's off to the inside in the middle sector somewhere, but he looks like he's just going for an adventure. Is that forwards and backwards 2 gears? And it might be. I would imagine it's basically just 1 gear to get it off the line and then hold it in another gear. I'll have to quiz Stuart about that. See if that's actually true. So we're going to jump on board with Nathan Smith, our newest VRRC member, as well as our newest driver to the series. This is his livery. So, yeah, maybe a little confusing when it comes to him versus Nicky Taylor. They've both got quite a white livery. If you just look out for the blue stripes on the side of the truck, that's how you'll know who it is. And it will probably say in the bottom right corner. That will help nicely. And the little green indicator and the little rectangle around the position shows which car I'm focused on. Rich doesn't appear to have recovered from his sightseeing, or maybe he's spotted a bird or something, might be getting his binoculars out or something. I'm not really sure what's happened there. It doesn't look like many people are improving. In fact, Nathan Smith's the only one with a couple of green sectors at the moment. Everybody is orange, but Nicky has set quite a competitive orange sector, so watch out to see if he can improve up from 3rd place. We'll see what his second sector is like. He's only a couple of seconds away from coming through that split. We see Nathan Smith slot into 8th place there. So it's an improvement for Nicky in the second sector, so we're going to go back to him. He's only 6 milliseconds off Joel Lask's time at the moment. Rich has pulled a Leclerc at Australia. You might have done there. You've blown the engine. Oh dear. Oh dear. So he did a Leclerc at Bahrain instead. Well done, Rich. I applaud your commitment to mirroring all the terrible things Ferrari do. Though you did win last time, so obviously doing the good things that Ferrari do. As Joel suffered the same fate. Because Joel Lasker stopped as well. I wonder if he's blown up his engine. Because that looks fairly... That's in neutral and not looking very healthy. There's a Leclerc moment for every DNF. Yeah, that we need like the Twitter bot that just makes that into a quote. We need that. We just need a bot that makes some of Dave's comments in the YouTube chat into quotes. We could dedicate like a whole Twitter account to just random things that Dave comes out with in the chat that we all just laugh at. Got a couple of green sectors coming in. Eric is the quickest of them at the moment, but Andy Carroll, Josh Martin and Paul Laramie are all improving on their times at the moment. Double green sector for Josh and Paul Laramie at the moment. Josh is going to want to improve from 10th place. Would get banned, I can imagine, to be honest. But we'll see where Eric ends up. See if your man Josh can give you something to cheer about. Eric is also looking at the sights of the final chicane by the looks of it. Josh improves up to 9th. He's going to get 2 more laps in, I reckon. 2 more push laps. So we'll see if he's managed to save the tyres to use a bit further on in his run. Scott Bugner down in 7th place though. Scott looked by far the quickest person last week, but obviously not at the moment. I've done an opposite commentator curse. We've just had a purple sector 1 from Scott Bugner. That is a clip-worthy moment. I've reverse commentator cursed somebody. I don't know how we've managed that, but I'm sure Scott will be very happy about that. He has set purple sector 1. How is he in sector 2? He's there or thereabouts. So he's looking good for a good lap. He's going to ruin the final chicane now, I've said that. Just to really drive the curse home. He's the only person with major improvements at the moment. Paul Laramie looks to be making ground up as well, though. But everybody else appears to be on slightly slower sectors. How's the final chicane? We'll find out as he goes across the line. And it's 4th place for Scott. He's, what's that, less than 2/10 off now. So that's a really good lap from Scott, but it looks like he's abandoned. That's going to be the end of his qualifying session. But I think that's promising for Scott's race pace. I mean, unless he's blown the engine or ran out of fuel. I wouldn't be surprised if he intentionally fueled it to just cut out at the line. Right, let's have a look at people we've got coming across the line. The next driver to come across the line will be Reese Bell. Let's have a look. How is Reese doing? 2 orange sectors, so not an improvement so far. It's not as slow as the timer is letting off, but I think he's... no, he's not backing off. He's just getting it into the final chicane, I think. No, it does look like he's backed off significantly there. So Nathan Smith is going to be the next driver to cross the line. He appears to be going quite slowly as well, and going for a little bit of a drift there. Fair play. Can't be the easiest things to slide about, but he's done a good job there. He'll finish in 9th place. So Nicky Taylor's invalidated his lap. Elliot Dalton Ayres is on 2 green sectors though, and he is up in P2. So is Elliot got the chance to snatch away pole position right at the death? We'll find out when he crosses the line. Is it going to be pole position for Elliot? It is! Right at the death. Almost the last man to take the flag. I think Paul Laramie is the only car left to take the flag. So my prediction was right up until the second to last person to cross the line in overtime. But Elliot has taken pole position with a 31.9. That is a good lap from Elliot there. That's an impressive time. It's another story of no purple sectors, but just hooked it up in all 3 nicely. Not the best that we've seen, but solid just about everywhere, and that's gotten the pole position. So great job to Elliot there. That's really nice to see for him. We're just going to wait for. I think there's a bit of a glitch with Stuart Vickers' truck there in the pit lane. Not really sure what happened there. That might have been a bit of lag or something. Oh, is that the clip of me? Yeah, that's the clip of me cursing, or not? Well, opposite cursing, Scott. That's a wonderful clip. Right, we shouldn't be too long away from the start of race 1. I'm not sure what Rich did tell me. He changed the countdown. But I don't know what he's actually changed it to. So we'll have a look. When we get that information available. Product placement, Dr. Pepper. yeah, Dr. Pepper, if you want to sponsor me, then you're more than welcome to. It's not the BBC, so I don't have to remind you that other energy and caffeinated drinks are available. Right, it looks like we're about to get into the race, so we've got a 2-minute countdown for the race. So, much easier than last week to infill. So, it looks like it's going to be quite close between Elliot, Joel, Nicky and Scott. And we've got Andy Carroll up in 5th place. Very nice to see Andy back on form after what was, let's be honest, it was quite a difficult championship for him. He did all the right things for setting the car up, but just don't think the car suited Andy's style. But back to touring cars, and the trucks evidently suit his style nicely. We're about a minute away from lights out. Josh Martin down there in 10th place. He's not enjoying these trucks as much as those GT cars, and definitely not as much as the touring cars, which I'm sure he's looking forward to getting back in. Nathan Smith up there in 9th on debut for the VRRC. And we've got Eric Axelson down in 7th place. Eric was one of the quicker ones towards the end of the Donington Park round. Down there in 7th place. That's not where Eric would want to be starting. But we'll jump into the game and we will find out what's going to happen very shortly, as we've got 15 seconds till lights out. Who's going to get a good start? And then we're going to see what's going to happen. Who's going to handle the tyres best? Who's going to make the moves when it counts? And it's lights out and away we go for the second round of the Trucks Special Event. It's a good start from Elliott, but it's an incredible start from Scott Bugner. Straight up into the lead. What on earth? I have never seen a start like that before in VRRC. He's come from an absolute mile back and is already into the lead as Andy Carroll's going around the outside and Nicky Taylor for 4th place. See a little bit of contact further back between Rich Hayden and Nathan Smith. Eric Axelson dropping down to 8th. Josh Martin still down there in 10th. But it's Scott Bugner with an absolute flyer off the line, who's going to be leading Elliot Altonares and then Joel Laskin 3rd. Andy Carroll holding his own in 4th place, but I think is under pressure from Nicky Taylor a bit now. So we'll see what the overtaking is like, but I think they're going to hit the limiter. So it'll be interesting to see. Everybody should have the same gear ratios, but it'll be blindingly obvious if they don't when we come round the right-hander here. But already Andy is unfortunately dropping back from the top 3, and that's slowing down Nicky ever so slightly. And that's just, you can see the gap appearing between Andy and Joel there, and that's going to potentially be inviting Rich Hayden to look at a move. Are they all going to make the final chicane nicely? It looks like they are. And actually Andy's had a very strong final chicane and has pulled away a little bit there. And has definitely bunched up towards the leaders. They've all bunched up massively into that final chicane. But now it's a bit of a 5-way battle for the lead now, as we see Rich Hayden going side by side with Nathan Smith. And it looks like Eric's trying to get involved there to try and pick up the pieces. As Nathan sends it in deep, pushes Rich wide. Is that going to give an opportunity to Eric round the outside? Oh, it's going to be tight. Rich pushes him wide. But Eric can't hold it round the outside there. Almost looks like Nicky has managed to make the move on Andy Carroll, who's dropped back many places there. So I wonder if there was contact or a little mistake from Andy there. But that's really put a big gap between Nicky and Joel now. So the top 3 have kind of broken away from that toe already. Now are we going to see a move from Joel on Elliott, or is he going to be content to push Elliott round and continue to try and break away from the pack behind? So they're all going quite wide here. It'll be interesting to see if that gives an invalidation, as that will be something they'll have to think about throughout the race. As we see, is Joel going to make a move up the inside? It looks like Elliott covered the inside a bit more there. That's just going to give Scott a couple of metres advantage going around the final chicane. As we see, Reece Bell has passed Josh Martin for 9th place. Scott sets the fastest lap. Up the inside goes Joel Lask. That's going to push Elliott wide, and through goes Joel into 2nd place. That's given a bit of an advantage to Scott there. Very robust move. Don't know how open the door was there. I was glancing at the results when I see Joel sending it up the inside there. But it looks like Nicky is at the head of the train, the group behind, which have gained massively out of that little bit of contact. They are now starting to edge back towards the front 3. So it's Scott that leads still, and it's his teammate Joel Laskin 2nd now. In fact, it looks like Rich Hayden is now shaping for a move on Nathan Smith. Are we going to see round 2 of those two very shortly? Rich looks to be setting up the exit, as long as he doesn't allow Eric up the inside. And we'll see what he can do. But it looks like he's dropped back a little, and it's inviting Eric more to look at a move on Rich there. As Elliot looks to be a little too far back to try and make a move. Now Rich has had a good turn there, and he's right on the back of Nathan Smith now. Is he going to have the overlap? Not quite as they hit the limiter. He's going to have to send it in on the brakes. Has he got the confidence with that extra 10 kilos of success ballast? He thinks better of it, but Nathan runs wide. They're going to go side by side. Rich gets the place. Does he keep it though? It looks like he does. He manages to hold it through the second part there. As we see fastest lap of the race from Nicky Taylor on a 31.9. Only 70 milliseconds slower than the pole position time of Elliot Dalton-Ayres there. So that's a very good effort from Nicky to edge closer towards that lead battle. That is far more than edge. He's taken a chunk out of the leaders on that last lap. But does that mean he's somewhat used up the tyres? We'll find out, as there's quite a lot of scrapping a bit further back. It's Andy Cowell and Reese Bell going at it again. Andy started really well up towards the top 4, but unfortunately that mistake has rather thrown him backwards, and it looks like Reese has taken the place now. We've got Josh Martin going for the move. Is he going to make the move up the inside? They're going to go side by side. Is Andy Carroll going to be able to hold it round the outside? It looks like Josh is going to have the inside line, and that should be move done when we get to the next right-hander. We're also seeing Nicky Taylor right on the back of Elliot Dalton-Ayres now. And it looks like Josh has just about got the move done. And we can see further up, Eric is lining for a move on Nathan Smith. Our latest champion versus our latest driver. And it looks like Nathan's defended the place well there. He's going to hold on to that place. Looks like the pace from the leaders has definitely taken a sharp downturn now. There was a 31.9 last lap. Nobody even in a 32 this time around. So the tyres are really starting to hurt now for the drivers, I think. As we see, Scott Bugner's gone off there. That looked like Scott was off the track there. That's given a huge opportunity to Joel Lask. Is Joel going to be able to capitalise and take the race lead though? The next corner goes left, so Scott's got the inside. And it looks like Elliot's managed to hold it around the outside of Nicky Taylor. And it looks like Scott's going to hold on for now, as Elliot's now shaping for a move on Joel. They're all pretty much pushing each other around the corner there. It's going to be close as they approach the final corner. Has Elliot got the overlap? Not quite. Is he going to make it up the inside, or is Joel going to chop him off? It looks like he backed out ever so slightly. It took a bit too much curb there. Is that going to allow Nicky the opportunity to go up the inside? Heading towards the final couple of corners now. Nicky shapes for a move on the air, but he's going to give it a go anyway. He sends it in very late on the brakes. Is he going to get it stopped? It looks like he is. And he's made the move stick. And all of that battling has allowed Rich Hayden to get right onto the back of them, as we see Joel go for the outside for the lead. Is he going to get the cut back on Scott here? No, Scott carries really good momentum through the mid-corner. Now I've got Ash Avis in the chat. Hi Ash, how are you? As it looks like they're going side by side again. Big squiggle from Joel on the brakes. Nicky seems to be interested in making this a three-way fight, but it looks like it's the two LB Motorsport trucks for now. Not quite the move there for Joel. He doesn't look like he's able to use that exit speed though. Scott's covered him off nicely. This has definitely invited Rich Hayden to the party, and it's dragging Nathan Smith and Eric in that battle towards it as well. Now Joel's managed to get up the inside though, and Scott just lets him have it straight away. He's thinking about getting the run back on Joel, to try and get that place back immediately. But it looks like Nicky's managed to get partially alongside. Is that going to enable him to get up the inside? It looks like it is. Scott's going to have to concede that one. And they're going to have to work together a little bit to catch Joel and see if they can make a move on him. But it won't help Nicky running that wide. That might give Scott an overlap. They're going to go side by side now. It looks like Rich Hayden in the background has dispatched of Elliot Dalton Ayres, but that battling has put them 1.7 seconds down now. So they're going to have to work hard to catch that gap up unless these lots start fighting. And it looks like Joel's going to pull away a bit here because Nicky was offline trying to defend from Scott there. We're going to see 33s again, down to 35s in some cases. The tyres really struggling for everybody there, as Josh Martin has managed to pass Reese Bell for ninth place further back. Nobody shaping up for a move just yet. It's calmed down for a split second while everybody probably tries to keep their tyres in check and just figure out where they can plan their next manoeuvre. Now it looks like Reese Bell has gone off there. Sent it in a bit too much on the brakes, I think, there maybe from Reese. But it's enabled Josh to get the place. But he's now 5.8 seconds away from the cars in front. So is he going to be able to catch them up? I think there's going to need to be some battling if he's to reel that gap in. But back to the leaders. Looks like Nicky's slowly closing in on Joel Lask at the moment. Taking a much earlier apex and much more curb through there than Joel did. That's given him a good run. But they're going to hit the limiter now. So if he wants to make the move now, he's going to have to send it in on the brakes. He's already done this before, though. He's got the advantage of past experience on how this works. But it looks like Joel is very strong on the brakes there. There's no hint of a chance of Nicky catching him through the braking zone there. But a little mistake from Joel on the exit. Is that going to allow Nicky at the inside? No, but further back, Scott and Rich are going to get a lot closer. Lap times coming down to a couple of 32s there. So the lap times are coming back to the drivers now as they've taken a lap or so to just keep the tyres in check. But it looks like Nicky's going for the lead. Is Joel going to leave him the space? Oh, not really, but they do well to avoid contact there. And for now, Joel keeps the lead with 8 minutes to go. There's still plenty of time for them to sort this one out. But it looks like they all want to go for the lead immediately. I mean, why wouldn't you? As we see Nathan Smith and Eric Axelson going side by side. Looked like Eric had just got that position. But can Nathan hold it round the outside? Is Eric going to leave enough space? Yes, he is. But I think that's going to allow Nathan up the inside. But now Eric holds it nicely around the outside there. Has he carried enough speed? I think the tyres are going to scrub a bit too much through the mid part there. Further back, it looks like we're going side by side with Rich and Scott over third place. And Elliot's catching them back up again ever so slightly. Looks like Nicky's also going for the lead a bit further up. Is he going to make this one stick? He's certainly giving it a go, but I think Joel's going to have him covered. He does indeed. Rich Hayden stays in the third for now. As Elliot's getting a bit closer to this battle now, the more they have at it. Just reeling them in ever so slightly. So we get 34s that time around with 1:33. So the lap times are slowing down again. Looks like Eric Axelson and Paul Laramie are having a bit of a battle here. As it looks like Eric has lost time in that battle with Nathan Smith. Now Paul Laramie is sensing an opportunity. But hasn't managed to find one just yet. I think part of it may be success ballast from on Eric's point. He will have a very heavy track, although you'd like to think, well, I would imagine that a 5-ton truck would have less of an impact when it comes to slowing people down with success ballast, because 50 kilos compared to 5 tons is a very different story to 1 or 1.5 tons with 50 kilos. And it looks like Eric's made good ground on this lap. And he's going for Nathan Smith. Is he going to get the undercut? It looks like he's had a very tidy exit. That hasn't carried the momentum. As we see, Elliot Dalton-Ayres has now got up the inside of Scott Bugner. Is he going to get it stopped? He had a big squiggle under braking there. I think a lot of these drivers are winding the brake bias quite far backwards to get trucks to turn in. You have to kind of turn them in about 20 miles too early to get them to turn into the corner nicely. Is Scott having a look at a move around the outside? Not quite. I think looks like Nicky's edging towards Joel at the moment. The gap is come down by about 3.5 tenths in that first sector, and is well and truly down to a couple of tenths as he goes to the lead now. But Joel takes a good line, doesn't let him get alongside. That means he keeps the lead for now. Got just under 5 minutes of the race still to go, and then we have the reverse grid race, which is where you get 20 minutes of extra chaos when we reverse all of the grid. Both running quite wide through the exit there. Looks like Nicky is closer this time. Is he going to have a look to the outside, or is he going to back out like he has before? Joel's been very smart to cover it off. He's just left him a bit less than a truck's width on the outside to try the move. So he's not been able to slam on the brakes as late as he wants to try and at least get an overlap to give him the chance to hang it around the outside. But it seems like Joel is quick in all of the right places at the moment to defend from an overtake. But it looks like here comes the move from Nicky Taylor. But Joel just about holds it around the outside there. Great driving from the pair of them, and great respect from the pair of them. Drive this closely without any contact. As we see, not quite a good enough exit from Nicky there. In the background, Scott is very close to Elliot, so it looks like he might be cooling his tyres a bit, having lost those places, and is now coming back at those in front of him. As we see further back on the time tower, Eric is still having at it with Nathan Smith, and Paul Laramie and Josh Martin in the background looking to capitalise. Good move from Eric up the inside. Not quite a big enough gap for Paul Laramie to fit his truck up the inside there. He's going to have to wait a little longer, but it looks like Nathan Smith managed to carry some good momentum and is alongside Eric now. Is he going to make the move stick? Not quite. They're going to go side by side into the final chicane, as we see Reece Bell and Andy Carroll battling further back. They're still going at it, but it looks like Nathan Smith hasn't been able to do it. Eric's got that one covered for now, until about 2 corners time, when Nathan Smith will come back at him probably. So last time around, they're in the 35s in the battle for the lead, and 34s, mid to high 34s, so the tyres are suffering well and truly. We've also missed that Scott Bugner and Elliot Dalton-Ayres are fighting. Oh, very much so, as Scott manages to wrestle just about through into 4th place for now. The battle for the lead is getting close again. Nicky appears to be catching up with Joel yet again. Looks like his Renault truck has got a fair bit of a longer wheelbase than and looks like almost bigger tyres than Joel's truck, but definitely it's longer. So I wonder if that's helping with the high-speed nature of Thruxton. I wonder if those little characteristics in trucks which are very even, I wonder if that's making a difference. As we see some defending from Joel now. He knows that there's going to be one more lap at the end of this one. Oh, massively sideways in the braking zone. That's going to give Nicky a chance. But Joel's covered it off. He's got 1 lap to hold off for the win. And I'm going to have well and truly cursed him if after all of this I said he wasn't going to hold it in the race, but he was going to get pole. After losing out on pole position, he's going to be desperate to win the race. There's only a couple... Elliot Dalton-Ayres has come into the pits. I don't know if that's a drive-through issue. Drive-through for track limits issues. But he has had to come through the pits. And Nicky Taylor has made a mistake somewhere because Joel Lask is now 8 tenths up the road. So I'm not sure exactly what's gone on there, but Elliot has had to make a trip through the pit lane and Nicky Taylor has dropped back from Joel Lask. But Rich Hayden looks like he's going to hang on for a second consecutive podium. Wouldn't have thought I'd be saying that at the start of the Trucks Championship. And it looks like Josh Martin has dispatched of Nathan Smith a bit further back. So after playing second fiddle to his teammate, he is still making ground. It's a much more positive result for Josh and Eric. But it looks like, unless there's going to be a huge lunge from Nicky, well, don't discount it from Nicky. But it looks like Joel has got him covered. He has indeed. As long as he gets through this final part of the chicane, all good. Which it looks like he has. It is going to be Joel Lask that takes home the win from Nicky Taylor. Rich Hayden in third. Scott Bugner in fourth. And we see Eric Axelson coming home for a very hard-fought fifth place ahead of Paul Laramie, Josh Martin, and Elliot's gone into the pits already. Nathan Smith rounds out his debut in 8th, Kenny Press in 9th, Andy Carroll is going to come home 10th, and Reece Bell comes home in 11th. Well, drama right at the end. And we thought it was going to be a simple race. No, very dramatic. Yeah, it's never that easy. But it was Joel Lask that takes the win from Nicky Taylor, who I didn't even know was racing with us in the Trucks series until I loaded into the practice server when starting the stream. And it looks like Rich Hayden is going to be taking back-to-back podiums. He's really at one with the Trucks. And we've got Scott Bugner 4th, Eric Axelson 5th, after spending most of the race side by side with Nathan Smith on his VRRC debut. Bet Rich is wishing there were more rounds. Yeah, I bet he was wishing there were prizes or something. But that is going to round out race 1 of 2. Stay tuned for the second reverse grid race in a couple of minutes' time. I'm just going to take a very quick break and I'll be back very shortly. Welcome back, everyone. We're about 8.5 minutes away from the start of the reverse grid race, where we have got Reece Bell on pole position from Andy Carroll, Kenny Press, Nathan Smith, Josh Martin, Paul Laramie, Eric Axelson, Scott Bugner, Rich Hayden, Nicky Taylor, Joel Lask, Elliot Dalton-Ayres, Stuart Vickers, and oh, that's me. Yeah. So after all that drama with Elliot being lapped, he doesn't even get to start the reverse grid race on pole position. So he's going to have to fight for every point. So that's what these drivers love. They love a good battle. And we're going to see how this all pans out in about 45 seconds time. It's going to be Reece Bell that leads them away. It's going to be interesting to see if people have learnt from their race 1 races vis-a-vis tyres and how to race other people. Are they going to adjust their strategies? Or do they know what works? Are people going to be able to counter moves a bit better? I think it's all going to be about the tyres. We see the red lights go on. We're going to see them go out very shortly. And away we go. Looks to be a fairly even start. Josh Martin going through the middle there. Pretty rocket ship start from him. And we're going to get the order popping up very shortly. It appears to have been a solid start from Scott Bugner. He's already up to 7th place. Oh, as we see Kenny Press going for a bit of an adventure. Oh, and that's taken Andy Carroll and Josh Martin out. And Andy's across the track. There's a bit of chaos everywhere. Josh has gone for a bit of off-roading. It means that Reece Bell is leading the race for Phoenix Simsport there. And after all that chaos, Scott Bugner is up to 4th place. So Scott must be pretty happy with that start, as long as he's not been involved in any of that contact. But it's Reece Bell who has a sizable advantage to Nathan Smith. The real-life truck expert has shown his skill there to navigate the chaos up into 2nd place already. And Josh Martin up there in 3rd, so Dave in the YouTube chat will be very happy about that one. As we can see them battling all throughout the field further back. It looks like Scott is in prime position at the moment, but the others are not far behind. Looks like Elliot's looking at a move on Paul Laramie and Derek Axelson. It doesn't look like he's been able to make it, as Paul Laramie and Eric are going side by side. I think Elliot might be able to capitalise there. He's going to be able to get the inside, not quite. He's battling away with Nicky Taylor over who's next in line to have a go at Paul. Not quite. Scott's closing in on Josh Martin. So I wonder if we're going to see a move for 3rd place shortly. As we see late defence from Paul Laramie. They own 3 wide further back between Joel, Elliot and Nicky. And Nicky's had to bail for the escape road by the looks of it. So he's going to have to yield that time back, which it looks like he has done. Looks like Joel got boxed in a bit there. They're going to make it 3 wide. Surely this doesn't end well. But it looks like it did. And they managed to make it stick. So that's brilliant driving from all of them, as Paul Laramie's trying an adventurous move around the outside. Looks like he hasn't quite managed to make it stick. And now Andy Carroll's looking to get in on the action. There's a couple of purple sectors coming in from Josh Martin and Eric Axelson at the moment. So Josh is a bit more at home in race 2, it seems, for the moment. As we see some big moves. Oh, Elliot's had a little tap from Joel there, but is he going to get it stopped? Oh, as Nicky is sideways in the braking zone. He had a tap from Paul Laramie, but they've all managed to keep it pointing in the right direction. And fairly close to each other. Looks like Nathan Smith has now taken a lead from Reece Bell. So the newcomer on his debut in VRRC is up to the lead already, but it looks like Reese is coming straight back for the lead. Not quite. He's defending from Josh Martin. He's trying an aggressive move around the outside, and he's made it stick. Good move from Josh Martin to get up into second place. Looks like Stuart Vickers has DNF'd, unfortunately. And again, side by side, but it looks like Josh has got the move stuck. Scott Bugler kind of stalled out a bit. He was right. Oh no, that's a bit aggressive from Reese, but Josh has managed to keep it just about on the track. That was a bit of a late braking manoeuvre there. That has now enabled Scott to go past, but I think he'd be hoping he managed to do it a bit more on pace rather than from issues from other people. But now Scott's definitely going to be lining up Reese for a move into the final chicane, as he doesn't want to have to battle away with the two Mean Green Racing Team trucks behind him. Looks like they're all trying to shape for a move all at once. Is anybody going to be able to make it stick? Oh, Josh Martin's tried and not succeeded. And now that's going to invite Elliott to try and move up into turn 1, is it? Looks like he's going to give it a go. Nicky Taylor with the fastest lap in 8th place. So he's going to get the bonus points for that. Is Josh going to be able to hold it out there on the grass? Not quite. He's run wide and has lost a couple of places from that. It's still Nathan Smith who leads the race at the moment. A bit more bashing. Oh, big contact, big contact. Elliott has gone off there. Nicky Taylor's taken a second trip across the grass. I think that's Eric Axelson has been tagged round and all of that. So complete and utter chaos there. I think Nicky's going to have to give back some time there. Definitely to Joel, which he has done there. But absolute chaos going on in this reverse grid race. This has definitely handed a big advantage to Scott Bugner, who is now free to battle Reese Bell all on his own, and then go after Nathan Smith if he has the pace to do so. At the moment, there's not a huge amount of point looking at the sector times, because they've all been side by side and having incidents with each other quite frequently. But it looks like Scott's going to make the move now on Reese. Is he going to be able to get it done on the brakes? How aggressive is he going to be? Yeah, it looks like he's gone for it, and Reese has decided to slot in behind and take that slipstream. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of drama in this series. I didn't really know what to expect from truck racing. I haven't really watched much of it in my time. But if it's like this, then I will definitely watch it. It's like Nicky Taylor's shaping for a cleaner move on Joel Ask this time. Didn't fully see the picture of what happened before, but he knew he couldn't make that move stick by cutting the corner. I think mainly an avoidance. But he's looking to make a clean move on Joel Ask now. He's right on the bumper of Joel now, putting him under big pressure and getting a healthy slipstream from him, I'm sure. We'll keep an eye on Scott Bugner and Nathan Smith to see if Scott can close that gap down. So I think he is definitely going to be favourite for the win at this stage. I would expect Scott, with his good racecraft, to be able to catch him up and make the move stick. We've seen plenty of time of Scott making moves stick when it counts. But the question is, does he have enough pace to get there and do it quickly? Well, at the moment, Joel and Nicky are not helping each other by making mistakes. Very small mistakes, but they're adding up. They could be closing in a lot more than they actually are at the moment. I think their third sector is they're nearly going side by side through there. They're slowing each other up a bit. This is helping Scott out quite a lot at the moment. So Scott's gained 1.1 seconds on Nathan Smith, and has been matched by Nicky and Joel. So audio is going. Uh-oh, that don't sound good. Let me just just try restarting your device, and I'll just keep an eye on the audio levels on my end and make sure that it's not me cutting out. But there is an issue with YouTube cutting out audio on mobile devices at the moment, as it looks like it's going to be close there. A bit of interesting colliders there. The collision model is not exactly to the outside of where the trucks are. That's why you could see some overlapping between Nicky and Joel there. I think part of that may have been internet, but they've got good ping. So I think there's a little bit of leeway with where the game thinks the edge of the trucks are. But actually, going back to the battle for the lead, that gap has closed completely. So Nathan Smith's made a mistake somewhere, because Scott has closed right up to him as they're going side by side further back. Oh, it's going to be tight on the exit here. They just about made it through okay. Nathan Smith holds the lead for now. So we'll see if Scott's able to make a move into the chicane. Smith goes defensive. Is Scott going to go for a move around the outside, or is he going to try and set up a cutback? He's looking for a cutback. He's going to be looking to get a good line through here and then get the cutback out of this right-hander right here. Can you jump on board with one of them? Yes, I certainly can. We'll jump on board with Scott in driver's eye as we watch the battle for the lead. We'll see if he can shape for a move here. Is there going to be a gap up the inside? No, they both take a wide entry line to try and get the run on the exit. This is a big flat out section here, and it's important to get the run. So has Scott now got the ability to get a good run through here? They both had a pretty good run through there. We can see Respell in the mirrors. The mirror's very overexposed. It's very bright. I'm still not sure how to fix that. So if anybody knows, then let me know. But it looks like Scott's shaping for the move here. He brakes a little bit earlier, but he gets the car into the apex, well, the truck into the apex nicely. Oh, he's got a very good exit there, and that's brought him alongside. I think he shifted a bit too early there, though. As they're going to go side by side into turn one. He's going to run it out, but leave just about enough space to not push Nathan off. Now he's going to have to send it in deep to the first part of the chicane. She does, but Nathan holds it nicely around the outside. He has a little tap from Joel from behind, who was past Respell in the background there. But Nathan's done a great job of defending there, and Joel's just run clean around the outside of this. So I was saying Scott had an easy shot at the win, but unfortunately has not been able to make the move stick at the moment. Oh, he's setting up the exit nicely here though, because they've both gone defensive in front. Oh, but Joel's had to brake, and that's caused Scott to brake, so the cars behind going to have good momentum now. It looks like not quite. Scott's got a decent line, but he's going to hit the limiter before he manages to get to slipstreaming range. There's going to have to be a dive. I think Joel might be looking to dive up the inside here. He's just going to want to let off the brakes just there and make a little bit of contact. This is going to give us an opportunity, is it? On the exit. Scott's got a really clean exit. He's got a great line through that final chicane. But now we're going to see Joel go for a move. Not quite. Oh, Scott hits Joel. That's going to push him wide. That's going to allow Nicky Taylor to get in on the action. The Oracle was correct. I know, because I've tried it. That's how I know there's 4 gears. Because I did some laps in the truck before. So it can't take like massive credit on the memory front, shall we say. We're going to see a move from Scott. He's going to shape one up. Nathan Smith has done a very good job at holding position here. He's not given them much of a chance to make a move. There's only that one little mistake. We'll see what happens. I think he was a little wide there though. And he's killed our cameraman. Good job our cameraman is not a real person, just a camera in the sky. It looks like Nicky's already faking for a move up the inside of Scott, so he's already looking to get in on the action. Scott's got another good run through that final corner. That's definitely where he's been strong. Just not able to do anything about it there, as Joel is going for an adventure there. I don't think that's particularly the best line to go for. Oh, they're all going slightly wide. Is Scott going to be able to hold that up the inside? Yes, he is. So Scott does now take the lead. Oh, is this contact? Contact. And that's allowed Nicky Taylor through. And Nicky Taylor up to the lead now. After a little bit of contact there on the exit. Has left Scott Bugner a bit further down. Now Joel, after his massive moment, is next in the line to pass Nathan Smith. Is he going to be able to get underneath him? No, he gets a big whack from somewhere. I think that's a bit of net code or something. But is he going to get a good exit? Looks like Nicky has got this win sewn up now, apart from any errors. I don't think there's going to be much of a chance of anybody catching him, given that they're going to have to battle past Nathan Smith to get to a chance. You can see he's dropped them already, as Joel's now thinking about a move into turn one. I think he's going to send it in late on the brakes, which he is. And then a firm move from Joel, but a good one. I think there's always going to be at least one of my sneezes. I think there might be. I don't know if it picked it up or not. Oh, Nathan Smith has just taken Joel off the track a bit there. There wasn't really anything Joel could do there as he goes bunny hopping. He's still going for an adventure. I think Nathan misjudged his braking there and just went straight into the back of Joel, which well and truly knocked him off. And now Reese Bell, actually, shout out to Reese, has done a very good job and is still in 5th place. I don't want to curse him, but he's doing a really good job at holding that reverse grid place, and he's held his own in battle at the moment. It looks like Scott's finally managed to get the move done, and now it's Reese and Andy Carroll queuing up to pass Nathan Smith. Eric Axelsson and Josh Martin are having a bit of a nightmare round in general. They're down in 10th and 11th at the moment. Oh, as Reese fakes a move for the inside. That's not correct. Well, somebody's gone very far off. That's Rich Hayden. Rich has gone sightseeing and has dropped right the way down now. Looks like Nicky Taylor has well and truly escaped up front at the moment. And I don't know if there are going to be any post-race penalties from the game when it comes to track limits, so we'll see about that a bit later on after the race is finished, because we don't find out about those until after the end of the race. But at the moment it looks like Nicky is going to be taking home the win. The LB Motorsport pair are arguing over second and third, but Joel has got his second invalidation of the race. in that first sector. So it's going to be a bit worrying for him as to whether he's going to be able to make it without getting another invalidation, or he may now have a drive-through. Depends if he had one before I noticed. We'll find out if he's battling hard with Scott. Scott hasn't been able to find a way there. Joel has parked it nicely. Is Scott going to get another good exit? It looks like he is, but Joel is also quite strong through that final chicane. He's pulled away ever so slightly. Nicky's just been able to pull away now. In clear air, he hasn't had to battle anyone. He's managed to break clear and then not make any mistakes. He's going to be well clear. And it's now the final lap. Scott launches one up the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Looks like Joel's gone for an adventure off the track there. Is that going to be Joel's final invalidation and a drive-through? We're going to find out when they go through the first sector. No, it looks like Joel hasn't been given an invalidation for that, so he's not going to be getting a drive-through for that one. There are plenty of other places on the track, unfortunately, for Joel, as they're still going at it. And Nathan Smith, who did look like he didn't have the pace to cling on to this lot, is still doing so at the moment. But it's going to be Nicky, who is well clear and heading towards the final chicane now. We're going to try and focus on this battle for as long as we can, because Joel's going to go off here. And that is going to hand a couple of places. That's going to hand a podium to Nathan Smith. But it was Nicky who's managed to avoid the chaos around him. And he managed to hold his truck in place nicely and gets the win. I'm going to see where this titanic battle ends. Scott second, Nathan Smith third, Joel Lask fourth, Reese Bell fifth, Andy Carroll sixth, Elliot Dalton seventh, Paul Laramie eighth, Eric ninth, Josh Martin 10th, Rich Hayden 11th, and Kenny Press rounds out the top 12. Unfortunately, Stuart Vickers didn't finish the race. And that rounds off a pretty hectic evening of action, I have to say. That was, yeah, well and truly chaotic. And when we get to the results screen, we'll be able to have a look through to check whether there are any post-race things from the game. We're not doing steward inquiries or stuff ourselves, so there won't be any Monday night race debriefs that we get in our championships. Another kind of legacy of not making this the same as our paid championships. But I think most of it was fairly alright. I don't think there was any real major incidents that we need to have a look at. There were a couple of misjudgments. But yeah, entertaining in bucket loads kind of sums it up, really. A really good race to end the second installment, and we're not too far away now from being able to see the results screen, where we'll be able to have a look to check the post-race bits. It's just fading out now. But now we should be able to go to the championship and have a check where we are in terms of points. So there's no second race just yet. But from the first race, there were no penalties given out to any drivers. So nobody got any track limits discretions from that. And Elliot Dalton will take home the point for best qualifying lap. Nicky took home the 3 points of best race 1 lap, and I believe we'll be taking it for race 2 as well. So the results are still in progress of loading on the server, so we can't bring those to you just yet. But when the server decides to figure them all out, then we will be able to bring you those results. And there we go. So results are out, and there's no post-race penalties. That's what I'm trying to say. So the results you saw at the end there stand, and it means that overall Nicky in his first race took maximum points from Joel Lask and Scott Bugner, with Nathan Smith taking him the best amount of points on debut. That's a very good result from him, but not massively surprising given he's a real life truck driver and has driven the mod before. Stands to reason that he'd be very competitive in this, but it means that Joel has now got a big advantage when it comes to the standings. Chrome doesn't seem to want to work nicely. And I'm sure I'll get that fixed for the next one. I don't know why Chrome doesn't want to work nicely. It may be because it's not on the middle screen. Yeah. There we go. That's much better. So now you can see the full results, and then we can apply penalties, but I don't think any penalties were warranted from what we saw. So yeah, Joel is currently leading. Did win our last special event, did Joel? So kind of defending his special event record. So he's got quite a solid gap to Scott Bugnan, Rich, and Eric now. So let's look at the overview. So he's got 45 and a 46. So yeah, very high scores in both rounds. I think he did manage to get the fastest lap in that second race. He did indeed. So that's boosted his fourth place finish up a bit more. So that is that's how Joel has ended up coming away with a fair bit of a lead. Going into our final round, which, as you can see here, will be at Brands Hatch. In fact, I can bring up that graphic in full screen for you so you can see very nicely calendar. So we've just had our 2 rounds at Thruxton, and we've got 2 more at Brands Hatch on the 12th of April, which is next Wednesday. But it's fairly all to play for, I think. It's going to take a week of bad luck for Joel to not win, I would say, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. I'm certainly excited to see how they all get on with it. I don't know if Rich has put up the promotional graphics for the other bits that we've got going on at VRRC, because we are almost about to announce our next fun race. I don't know if Rich has actually announced it yet, but it's going to be the Ligier JSP3, and I believe the track we agreed on was the we did get that announced, so I can bring that one up. It's at the Bugatti circuit at Le Mans. So if you play Forza, you might be quite familiar with that layout. So you've got Le Mans, you've got the fast sweeping turn right, and then the turn 1, which is the right-hander. Then you've got the first chicane, the left right, and then it goes off to the right after that, and then it rejoins the 24 hours of Le Mans full circuit at the final chicane, but it's a 90-degree right-hander instead of the final chicane. Really underrated track in my opinion. I'm a big fan of it, and this is the Ligier JSP3 that we're going to be using. We are hopefully going to be using the updated LMP3s from the, I'm going to get the name right because it's like a long abbreviation, the AC Forum SK team have modded this, and they've also then modded an updated pack of LMP3s which look absolutely mega, and they're really good to drive. So we're hoping to do all of that, but we're all quite busy for time, so Rich likes to have a nice VRRC livery for these graphics and for people to race in, and neither of us had the time to put that all together. So further down the line, we are going to be doing some bits in that LMP3 in the fun races. If anybody has any suggestions for fun races or like cars they think might be good in a championship or a special event, then please let us know in the comments or on Discord. We're kind of using the fun races as kind of an open testing, but also fun environment to see what people enjoy, what content works well. Like, do certain tracks work well? Are there any issues with them? Same with the cars. It helps us pick better content for the championships we put out. So always nice to see people turn up for these races and give feedback to myself or Rich on the cars and the tracks we pick and how the racing is. Thank you for putting in the chat. Yeah, if you put in the chat !VRRC, as May has done, to get involved with VRRC, just click that link in the Discord. It'll take you over to our Discord server, and then myself or Rich Hayden or any one of our members will be able to guide you around and make sure that we can help get you on track. One other cool thing to show is that for our British Touring Car, our Touring Car Championship Season 4, using the British Touring Car pack, we've now got some extra prizes to dish out. So alongside the medal that you win for the driver of the round, you now also win a nice NGK Spark Plugs jacket. And if you are the top scorer, so if you add up your qualifying points to pole, race 1 and race 2 scores, so the top scorer from each round, you will get that as a little prize. Yes. Yeah, so more prizes. Everybody's a winner. Everybody's happy. And we had quite a few various different winners of the driver of the round when it came to our previous championship. In fact, I've got the list up here. We had Eric winning it for a brilliant race 1 result. We had Oliver Gibson for a brilliant pair of races in Monza. We gave it to Elliot for the double win in Istanbul. We gave it to Kyle for Kyle Army. We gave it to Reese Bell for his incredible second place in race 2 at Watkins Glen. We gave it to Elliot for a solid pair of results in Fuji. We gave it to Scott for his decisive moves in Suzuka. And then we gave it to Oliver Gibson again in Silverstone for a pair of solid races and just in general a solid season of improvement from him. Hey Siri, play Everyone's a Winner by Hot Chocolate. Yes. Yeah, we need that. Very good song, but I'm sure we'll get copyright striked for playing that, so won't be doing that. We are full on our next championship, the Touring Car Championship Season 4. We're already at maximum entries pretty much. We said we'd only have 25 entries. We are currently at that. We can go up to 29 cars on track, so 27 entries. So I think that we could squeeze 2 extra people in. I know 29 is the limit, because the server can't really cope with more. It then starts rubber banding for everybody, regardless of how your connection is. I'm not sure if that is a fix for that or something. I don't know. I don't think we know exactly what causes the problem. So we can't then go to the company that provides the servers to try and help them fix it. They're usually very good at implementing suggestions that Rich passes on to them. We've seen a lot of good things added to their servers that we've requested or we've had conversations about. How can people book the Sim Center? Yes, now you've probably heard by now that we have got the Sim Center at VRRC. I'm having to scroll to find the graphic because here we go. In OBS, I've got a separate scene collection for these type of streams. But here we are. This is how you can get involved with. I'm gonna have to go there with the VRRC Sim Center, which is in Leighton Buzzard, and it's where Rich races from. One of his sims, well, his actual sim is one of the sims you can try there. One of 5 simulators, I want to say. So you can book the Sim Center for a number of different purposes, shall we say. You can book the Sim Center mainly for, you can rent the Sims as just, you want to have a go on them or use them for whatever. You can book to spend time on them. You can book to spend time with coaching on the Sims as well. So at the moment, either myself or Rich will coach you on those simulators. You can also book them for evenings. You can hire the whole room out, and you can book that for evenings or just for general hire. In fact, go to a new tab and show you, because I was having a discussion with Rich and we're in the process of updating the shop, so it's a bit more simple. So here's how you can enter the trucks event if you wish to. But I need to find the Simulator Driver Performance Center. So these are the actual Grand Prix events. I think it's, here we go. So there are various different types that you can get. So you can get online driver coaching of as many hours you want, basically. That's 1-to-1. So normally that would be me in cars that I'm good at, which is anything that's rear wheel drive usually. And if you want front wheel drive coaching, you're probably better off getting that from Rich. And then you can get race car setup coaching. So that'll be teaching you how to set the car up for you. There's kind of 2 ways you can approach setup. There are a lot of what people call esport setups, which are designed to just be fast, but then you have to adapt to the setup and drive to how the setup requires you to drive, or you can tune the setup into how you drive and see if that gets you more pace. Personally, I prefer to start at a baseline with the best, kind of the quickest setup we have to start with, and then tweak it to how I like it. And then, of course, when you've done a couple of setups in the same car, you kind of got a bit of a philosophy which you like. There are certain bits which you can carry over, and then it makes it easier to tune that in for more tracks. But we can do coaching to teach you how to do that very well. You can book the Sims for sim practice, so that's for whatever you want to use them for. And then we've got one here for just if you want to book it for whatever, and we'll coach you with whatever you pick. And then private room hire. That's the whole rooms, that's all of the sims, the 2 sofas, the massive 70-inch television, the VR station, the whole lot. And then you got sim racing evenings for a bit of a discount. And then a simulator setup review. That's an online coaching thing to try and help tweak your own simulator at home to be as good as it can be for you. It's a very personal thing, setting up your sim. One thing I love about sim racing rigs is it's incredibly unlikely that 2 sim rigs will ever be the same. I know mine is completely unique because it's got all kinds of different bits on it. And that's a nice thing. But there are certain common things that are better for all rigs to do. And then there are certain things that are better for individual preferences. So we can help you navigate through all of them and get your sim set up very nicely. That pretty much concludes what we've got going on. The only other thing is the Time Attack event, which has rolled over to the Formula 2 car at Bahrain 2020 layout. So if you want to get your teeth stuck into some Formula 2 action in the Time Attack, you can do that. And I think that basically covers it. So in a week's time, you can join us at Brands Hatch, take on the final round of the Trucks Championship. It's Joel Lask that leads. And can anybody snatch that second special event title away from him? Join me to find out in a week's time. I hope to see you soon.